Oh, hey there. It's Pierce the Ope-Eh Three-Way, back with episode 88 of the Ope-Eh Three-Way. Usually it's Brandon doing the intros, but he's caught up with his real person job. He will hop in if he can. But we're here for episode 88 after a great weekend of wrestling. Saturday night's main event was Saturday. Quite a simple, fun show, but Double or Nothing was Sunday. And what a damn show that was. Top to bottom, all bangers, all heat, no misses, nothing but fun. And with such a great show for AEW, we got to bring the best AEW podcast there is on. And we're counting to one, we're counting to two, but we're not counting to three because we're kicking out. Tanner and Shep of the Kicking Out Pod are here today. What's going on, boys?
Hey, Pierce, thanks for having us. Hell of an intro there.
Thank you. It's not my norm. I'm not usually the one doing the intro, so I'm just doing my best.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a long time coming. We tried to do this in March when we had our lead up to Mania, and then obviously the real world stuff paused that, but we plan to do it for this, either the predictions or the results of Double or Nothing. So I speak for me and Brandon and Donnie, who is a real person pluggo, that we appreciate you boys coming on. And it's nice because it's the Ope-Eh Three-Way when you got a couple more Opes here. So
yes, Ope indeed.
And we also we really promised Paul's a real person too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean,
yeah, we're a couple of Midwest podcasts with apparently people that don't exist. Like, what the hell?
Yes. Well said.
So before we get into Double or Nothing and on this day, you guys want to quick give a little intro on yourselves and where that people can find you?
Sure. Go ahead, Shep.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Shep27, and then I'm with two sickos every Sunday night at 8:30 for the Kicking Out Pod, part of the Main Event Wrestling Network.
And like Shep, you can find me on social media at TannerLee92. And then you can find the Kicking Out Podcast at Kicking Out Pod. Like Shep said, we go live on YouTube and Facebook every Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also are on all audio podcast platforms. So give us a follow or subscribe on there as well. And we cover mostly AEW. We'll go down a few other rabbit holes from time to time. But the most part, if you're a sicko, come on in. We'd love to have you.
Absolutely. I've been in the chat a few times. It's a good time. And you guys said the Main Event Network. Before we get into On This Day, I think we should talk about what happened Saturday. 24-hour live stream Friday to Saturday. I was lucky enough to be invited to both a mixer for Saturday night's main event at 22nd, 23rd hour, Brandon, with Tino. Shout out to Tino. He's a great dude. But not only that, but I was invited to the first ever main event trivia showdown, and I was lucky enough to take home the W. And I want to see the video in full because I've been told me versus Boris is quite electric. So I don't know if you guys were in the chat for that part, but
I was in early on in the trivia, and then I had to duck out for a little while, so I missed the majority of it. But when it comes to wrestling trivia, what's your wheelhouse? I mean, are we talking certain promotions, certain era? What's your wheelhouse?
I mean, I just like wrestling in general. Yeah. So like I just try and when it comes to professional wrestling, I just like to take in as much knowledge as I can. So like obviously I think WWE brought almost everybody into the game. Mm-hmm. So like, but like mid 2000s WWE, I feel like I wasn't going to fail anything.
Yeah.
And like some of those deep cuts that Paperclip Mike had were quite fun. Like Brock Lesnar's football number was the last question before the lightning round.
69?
It sure was. It's the funny number.
Yeah.
So, but it was a great time, and and shout out to Great Bon Hall, Paperclip Mike, and of course Mr. OTM himself, Kyle. I appreciate those boys over there and everybody on the Main Event Network for that matter. So
yeah, it was a great marathon. It was the first one we've been a part of since this is the first year we're a part of the Main Event Wrestling Network. And we did our Double or Nothing prediction show from 2 to 3 p.m. I don't know how we got lucky and got that time slot. It worked out perfectly for us.
You didn't get the 1 to 2 a.m.
No.
I'm calling dibs on that time slot next year.
I saw the Beards had to be at like 5 a.m. for a while.
Yeah, they recorded theirs because JPJ had to be at work at that time, so they previously recorded theirs, which was smart.
I was like, okay, 9 o'clock, I can do that. That's no problem.
Yeah,
and then
there was some rough time slots that a few people got stuck with. So,
Boris was talking about it when we were doing the trivia. I don't know if you guys know Boris or, but
yeah, I'm familiar with him.
He's like, I do a 40-hour live stream every year and just do it. And I'm like, dude, that sounds fucking awful. By the way, if you guys want to swear, let it rip. But like,
all right, good to know.
But like I said, Saturday night's main event. Tanner, you were there.
Yeah.
Just real quick before I get it on this day, what was the event like? What was being in house for it, and you enjoy it?
Yeah, enjoyed it. I always like going to events, whether it's AEW, WWE, independent events, whatever. If I can get there, I like going, especially when it's local. First time Saturday night's main event had come to the state of Indiana, which both Shep and I live in, since 1992. First time my city here, Fort Wayne, had a televised event since 2012. So when tickets came on sale, I had to jump on it. Thank goodness I did, because it ended up being a sold-out show. I've been to quite a few events at the Memorial War Coliseum, and that was as packed as I've seen an event. So crowd was good. Card was what it was. I felt like it was kind of a almost forgotten about show with Clash coming up so closely to it. But it
kind of gave like a house show vibe.
It did.
The Saturday night's main event paint on it.
Yep. That's a very good comparison. But fun live, but I could see why it was an appointment viewing for Peacock, I should say, instead of television.
Right. I use the VPN, so I was watching on YouTube internationally, and I was like, it's fair. And then the feed cut out for a bit, and I was like, this is a multi-billion-dollar company, man.
Yeah, no excuse for that.
But didn't cut out during the one match that I was genuinely excited for, which was Penta versus Ethan Page, and that delivered in spades. So
I was actually rooting. I was one of maybe like 10 in attendance rooting for Ethan Page. I wanted him to take the title off Penta. So,
yep, same. But I understand why he didn't.
Yeah.
But it was a fun show. But before we get into Double or Nothing, I'm going to play somebody's theme who is actually on Double or Nothing. So if you will indulge me, boys.
You think you know me?
On this day in wrestling history, May 27th. Keeping it short and sweet, I got 2 events and 2 birthdays. 1996, on the first ever 2-hour WCW Nitro. During a match, Scott Hall would jump the barricade, grab a microphone, and say, "You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here."
What a moment that changed wrestling history forever.
Absolutely. It's the beginning of arguably the most important stable and storyline in professional wrestling history.
They talked about it all day today on Pro Wrestling 24, and they were comparing it to where it would rank in all-time history of that. And I think everybody had it in the top 3, if not the top 2.
It's top 3. I don't know what else I would put number 1 and number 2. But like if we're talking from a jump off point to what happened next, it's number 1, because what happened next literally changed the complexion of professional wrestling forever. So.
And I might be showing my age, but I agreed with LaGreca on this, okay? And I was a kid, but when that famous Black Saturday came, when Vince went, across the states and basically told the territories to pound sand, this is what I'm doing, that was also right up there with it.
I would agree with that, because Black Saturday is in and of itself one of the craziest days in professional wrestling ever, because I could go on forever on this. There's a reason I put trivia, but like if you look at Black Saturday as a whole, like the territories were set up so everybody could succeed, and Vince just went, "Nah, I want to succeed on a national scale," and then he just started poaching everybody. every single top star got poached. And because of that, all these territories had to pretty much just sell for pennies on the dollar to McMahon. And even then, the WCW, the same thing happened. So,
Yeah,
and then
crazy.
2023, Double or Nothing. I want to talk about 2 matches. 4 Pillars 4-way, absolute banger. And the main event, Anarchy in the Arena, shit hit the fan. And in one of the most important moments for AEW, Takeshita sided with Don Callis. And then in a moment that only I cheered for, Wheeler Yuta pinned Kenny Omega.
That's right. He did, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of like 3 Wheeler Yuta fans. So like that was good for me. When I was at the Milwaukee Dynamite taping with Brandon when Swerve's house got burnt down.
Oh, nice.
And it was great episode of Dynamite to be at. And it was me and like 3 other guys were cheering, "Let's go Yuta," and everybody's like, "We want Yuta," and everybody else was like, "No, we don't.
Yeah.
No, we don't." And I was like, "Come on, man."
That was like the reaction Logan Paul was getting in live Saturday night. There was like 3 people cheering for him. Yeah.
It was like when he joined the Blackpool Combat Club, when they let him in, that was one of the best moments of Dynamite. That's in my top 10. It's probably not in anybody else's top 10.
Wasn't it in that time? Isn't that when Moxley literally beat the shit out of him?
Yeah, and then he kicked out of the Death Rider or the Paradigm Shift at the time. And just it was this huge pop, and then I think he passed out in the Bulldog choke, and then William Regal's like, he's good.
Yep.
And then happy birthday to low-key legend Natty Neidhart, and speaking of WCW, the man who figureheaded that company into the stratosphere, Eric Bischoff. Happy birthday to
Easy.
But now it is time to talk about Double or Nothing 2026. The Louis Armstrong Arena, Queens. What a fucking show, boys. Like, I'll be honest, I did miss the buy-in because I was golfing Sunday, and then we went and did an escape room, so I didn't get back till a little late. But I mean, when you look at a pay-per-view, you don't really usually look at the pre-show when talking about like top to bottom. This is how the event went, because you look at the pre-show, and we'll quick go through them. Divine Dominion, Megan Bain, Lena Cross defeated Zeta Steel and Viva Van with Christopher Daniels. If Viva Van and Zeta lasted a full 5 minutes, they would have earned a future women's title shot or women's tag title shot. 4 minutes, 46 seconds. So they survived by the skin of their teeth. But when you got 2 beefy women, for lack of a better term, it's pretty hard to survive for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I think we all know what the end game is here with, I think it's going to be Brawling Birds defeating Divine Dominion, and most likely in Wembley at All In. But I was glad to see TJ come out and start a little feud, because I've been saying this at KOP. I have no problem with Divine Dominion. They look great. They're good workers. They're believable. I just want to see more formidable opponents for them. And I think TJ's a perfect team to give them a little more of a challenge than some of these other teams have been.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah, and I like the little 5-minute gimmick that they've been doing. I think that it bodes well. It gets another women's card, usually a women's match on the card, because we could use another one usually. So I like the little 5-minute gimmick, and it works well for that team.
Yeah, it's a perfect gimmick for 2 women who are supposed to be the bigger, stronger, faster than everybody. And when you put them together, they're going to be an unstoppable team.
And so sorry to cut you off, Pierce.
No, go right ahead, Tanner.
And Lena Cross is really taking advantage of this opportunity. You know, she was supposed to be part of this stable. We saw their debut at Grand Slam in Australia, but it was supposed to be Penelope Ford and Megan Bain. So with Penelope's unfortunate injury, Lena's really taken advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, she kicked that door open as soon as she got the keys. She said, "Fuck the keys, I'm gonna take it and run," and she has. And I think TJ is a good next step because although I do love that there's a women's tag division, it's still fairly shallow at this point. So getting an established team like TJ in there so they can start to build that division, make it a little deeper, it's probably for the best. The Death Riders, Claudio, Daniel Garcia, and Wheeler Yuta defeated the Ops, Anthony Bowens, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata by pinfall 10 minutes. I'm sure it was a good match. That's all I got. I'm sure you guys watched it. So
I did miss this match. And this was the one we had talked about briefly over on KO. Actually, we talked about it. Shep and I talked about it with JBJ and Pluggo on Between Two Beards last week because we usually don't incorporate the 0-hour matches in our predictions. We just do the main card matches. And this was one I was having trouble coming up with who I thought was going to win just because of all the TV time the Ops had been getting lately and Anthony Bowens. And then Bowens takes the pin. So a little surprising there, I thought.
Yeah, it was. It was a good match, but I think the Death Riders are kind of in a transitional period right now. You really don't. You got Mox doing this thing with Ospreay and laughing and smiling, but you still need to keep up this Death Rider persona. So I would think they needed that win to get, just to keep them going together.
I guess I was more shocked that Bowens took the pin than anything, but
well, they spent all this time for Bowens to join the Ops, and spent 2 months?
Yeah,
for him to pretty much be told, "Yep, you're in," and then he loses immediately. Unless the plan is to reform the Acclaim because he gets kicked out of the Ops and gets a beatdown, I don't see what the point is. So I guess at that point, I do see where you're at, and I see both sides of the coin. And then Boom and Doom, Big Boom, AJ, QT Marshall, the conglomeration, Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, Roger Strong, defeated Shane Taylor Promotions. Happened. It's a pop. You know, when it comes to the casuals, they're gonna know Big Boom, AJ, and the Rizzler. They are. Shep, you may not like it, but the casuals will know. I would say a non-wrestling fan is probably gonna know Big Boom, AJ before they know like a Roman Reigns or like a John Moxley. You know what I mean? It's there.
You're right.
QT may have hurt himself. I guess he's okay. And then AJ got some color by accident. So,
and I'm starting to wonder when's AJ and QT got to get a tag team title shot in Ring of Honor or AEW. They're up to 4-0 as a tag team, and AJ's 7-0 as an overall. So,
no, I quit. I would quit.
Hey, just because they get a shot does not mean they'll win.
I know, but there's so much talent depth in the card.
I just knew that'd get him going, Pierce. I knew that'd get him going. So
if Brandon was here, he'd be talking about Ring of Honor for the next 40 minutes because he's the one and only Ring of Honor fan.
Man.
He'd probably, and me and Donnie always like to give him shit that he's like, well, how come Bandito isn't defending the ROH World Title? It's like, because it doesn't fucking mean anything. It has not meant anything since Claudio's first reign.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's saying something.
Yeah. No,
it got lost in, and when we talked about this on the prediction show, there's too many belts. There's too many belts on your main AEW television and Dynamite and Collision. So then all of a sudden you have a world champion and you have a television champion in Ring of Honor that doesn't even have a television show. It's pay to play.
Which is some bullshit for Ring of Honor.
True. But even some of your mid-card belts on national television are getting lost. So yeah, ROH belt, unfortunately, is not doing much.
Well, now it's time to get into the main card. And what a fucking opener they had. I just played the theme for one of these men. If Adam Copeland and Christian Cage lost this match, they would have had to disband as a tag team forever. But they did not. And is what Wikipedia is saying, a New York street fight I quit match, which I think is just an I quit match. Cage and Cope defeated FTR to win the AEW World Tag Team Championships. First, for a little history, this is their first tag team championship since 2001. So it's been 25 years since they probably teamed somewhere in the interim, but since they've had the title. So that's insane. And secondly, that was the right match to open the card. 100%.
Yeah, FTR, I like how they've been opening up a lot of pay-per-views because FTR, one thing, if you like them, you don't like them, which I like them. Shep's a huge fan of them. They're always going to deliver in the ring, always. And yeah, when I saw this, I'm like, all right, Cage and Cope are probably going to win. It's going to get the crowd pumped up in a good mood. And the match was just fantastic. I loved all the spots. I loved Beth Copeland coming back, getting some revenge on Stokely. Stokely going through the fiery table.
That was a hell of a spot.
Awesome.
And a callback to WrestleMania 22, which Mick Foley is now All Elite. Shout out to him, bang, bang. And I will say he did not deserve that because he's already bald, short, and has no hose. Like, he doesn't need to go through a flaming table.
It's true, but he wanted to make up for that table spot a few months ago where he bounced off and became a meme. So, but just a fun match. I mean, I've watched a lot of pro wrestling in my day, and I've never heard "Banged Your Mom" chant.
No, that's a new one.
Beautiful. The crowd was hot all night. The New York crowd was awesome. And
great crowd. They should run New York every year.
Yeah, a cool venue. But yeah, like you said, Pierce, what a way and what a match to start the show.
Shep, you got thoughts or?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. I couldn't hear anybody. You guys are on mute. Yeah, again, Tanner knows I think this is the only second time in 3 years I've picked against FTR on a prediction show. But I just had a feeling it was time to give these guys one last run. You could see the emotion on Beth's face, especially when they won. So obviously this meant a big deal to them. And obviously FTR is the team, ultimate professionals to do something like this. So, I mean, almost could be match of the night. It wasn't for me. But it was a hell of a start.
Okay, you could make that argument for every single match on this card, though.
You really could.
That's how good this card was. And I do want to say this. I agree with you guys. FTR should open almost every show. I think they're a top 3 tag team of all time. Like, they're
right there in consideration, if not.
They've won gold every single place they've been, and they made people care about tag team wrestling every single place they've been.
And I think I sent this to Tanner and Paul right after the pay-per-view. They have an option coming up on their contract to obviously extend it a year. And immediately the dirt sheets are saying WWE's interested. I think Tanner was immediately saying there's no way they go back.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense to us, but it makes sense to their pocketbook.
Tony will pony up the money for them.
I hope so, but
yeah, I don't think it would come down to a money factor. And I mean, AEW is where some of the best tag team wrestling in the world happens. And
that's my favorite match of all time, which is a tag team match.
Which one was that?
It's Young Bucks versus Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega.
Revolution
greatest
2020.
match I've ever seen.
Yep, it was fantastic. It's my favorite tag match as well. That's why I was curious which one was yours. And I think they're going to get 2 more solid tag teams joining the company in late July, early August, in my opinion. So, I mean, they're stacking the tag division. And WWE's tag division is lacking right now. And historically, besides when you had the Dudleys, the Hardys, Edge and Christian, they haven't really focused on tag teams too much. So why would they want to go back?
They just let go of 2 of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Yeah.
And I assume you're talking about MCMG and, of course, Tongaloa and Jeff Cobb.
Oh, you nailed it.
I will say Jeff Cobb, they should scoop up and just have him run roughshod in the mid card because WWE had him for a year and had him be a lackey, which is pointless.
Yep.
But no, New Day, of course, Austin Creed and Kofi. If they don't do Creed versus Omega at All In, I think they're kind of going towards a, what am I thinking? TLC match, probably a triple threat. If they, with Young Bucks, FTR, Cage and Cope, which is all they really need. But if they want to beef that up and do machine guns, They had the New Day in there.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say no.
Oh,
No.
there's a lot of dream matches and scenarios all of a sudden that we could be talking about.
Well, I never thought we'd see Kofi and Creed versus the Young Bucks, and if they don't put Young Bucks in a ladder match, and they don't do Kofi or Austin versus Omega, which has been built up for over 10 years, just those two in a match, that's the way they should go.
Yep, I agree.
I'm not in the gaming world, but they have a rivalry in the gaming world, correct?
Yeah, back when I think it was a year before AEW started, they had, and WWE was even put it on their website, made a whole thing of it. They did a Street Fighter game. It was the New Day versus the Elite, and it was just Kofi or Austin versus Omega, and Omega took home the W.
Mhm.
And then they were like, well, let's just have a match. And I guess they did try and get that match booked, but of course WWE is going to be, and Vince's WWE specifically is going to be Vince McMahon's WWE. Yep. And he's going to pull the plug because he doesn't see a point.
Yep.
But it's going to be the hottest match.
Austin and Kofi were at a convention over the weekend, and they saw a guy wearing a Kenny Omega shirt. So Austin cut a quick promo and pretty much said, Kenny, you're getting it next time I see you. So, yeah, I'd be shocked if they don't come into AEW.
It's right there. And sometimes you just got to take the easy road. So, Konosuke Takeshita defeats Kazuchika Okada for the International Championship. I got this wrong. I thought Okada was going to win. What happened after the match, I did get correct. I did expect that the Don Callis family would finally turn on Takeshita. I did not expect for Takeshita's husband to turn on him, and that was not cool. That being said, we'll talk about the match first. What a fucking match.
This is what I thought their match at World's End was going to be. And the World's End one was good, but it wasn't this. This was my match of the night, which, like you said, Pierce, you can make an argument of a lot of matches, but this was my match of the night.
This was New Japan Pro Wrestling 2018. This was a perfect match in my eyes. Everything happened that I wanted to, and it kind of harkened back to Omega Okada 1, where it's all about the Rainmaker and all about for Kenny, it was the One Winged Angel. For Takeshita, it's the Fire Driver or Raging Fire Driver, and it's who can hit it first, and that's going to win. And Okada did hit the Rainmaker, but he didn't get the pin. And one thing I love about Okada is he keeps hold of the wrist. Okada's gotten a lot of shit for his AEW run, and I think some of it's fair, some of it's not. But when he wants to go, he will fucking go. And it's kind of like two sides of the same coin, because Okada's now, I don't know if I want to call him the greatest Japanese professional wrestler of all time. He's in the top 3, I think. Top 3 or top 5. But Takeshita is slowly climbing the ranks there. He's Okada in 2012, 2013, when it was Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi. And then everything in this fucking match hit. And then I think it was a shock win for Takeshita to win, but I think it was the right time for him to win too.
Yeah, Shep and I both put quite a few confident points on Takeshita just because we said if not now, when? When are they going to pull the trigger on this guy? Glad they did it. The match was fantastic. Liked what happened after the match. I'm a big Kyle Fletcher fan, so I popped when he came back because I was under the impression he needed surgery. Now, he revealed yesterday on his vlog when initially got hurt, they told him 90% chance you're going to have surgery. He went down to Jacksonville, didn't have to have surgery, and I think he just rehabbed like a madman. Boom, back in 8 weeks. So that was crazy, and he got a lot of us with the hug to Takeshita and then hitting him with the lariat. So that's going to be a fun feud. And even with Fletcher, they're teasing something with him and Okada down the road too. A lot of good moving parts. Yeah, I thought everything there was well done.
Did you see how they snuck Fletcher into the arena?
Yeah.
They put him in a wheelchair and covered him in black blankets. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
All you could see was his dress shoes sticking out the bottom. That was good stuff. Glad to have him back. Obviously glad he didn't have to have surgery. I did see where he had to shave his head and beard because he had grown a full head of hair and a beard. But the match overall,
looked very Osprey-like with that beard.
He did.
He did. Is there anybody that does a better drop kick than Okada?
not
He has the
active
greatest
day.
drop kick of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, Takeshita did a couple, and I'm like, okay, I can. It still wasn't like poetry in motion like Okada's. Enjoyed the match, enjoyed the finish of the match. But yeah, I think it was definitely the right time to put the belt on Takeshita and let him run with it. And Tanner got a little hate for this on the prediction show in the comments, but he said it's time to move Okada to the main event or the world championship picture. And at the time, I didn't know about it, but after seeing that match and knowing that he can still do that, I think it's a no-brainer.
I'll throw out a little early all-in prediction. The heir apparent for the Casino Gauntlet winner is Okada.
I like that.
Yeah, that could go over very well.
Especially if Mr. Will Ospreay is leaving Wembley as the new champ.
That's how you go into next year with face Will Ospreay running till I would say World's End, maybe even Revolution. They could have him go it, and then Okada cashes in. Like what? They don't need much more than that because it's Ospreay's beaten Okada once, maybe twice.
I think once, but it could be twice. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
In a women's Owen Hart Cup quarterfinal, it's not the match we expected because of Willow's unfortunate injury. Athena defeats Mina Shirakawa. Can Mina win something? Like, she's the fucking best.
And I was gonna, I picked Athena with a good amount of confidence points because I want Athena on my television every week. With Tony Storm out, Mercedes not back yet, maybe soon. I think we need a really good professional wrestler in the women's division that could, go up against Tekla and other women. So I want her there. So that's kind of why I'm glad she won that.
I'm not mad at it at all, but Mina Shirakawa puts in the fucking work and
she does
nothing in return.
I think Mina would be good, TBS title. We'll see what happens with that. I think she'd be a good candidate for that.
I would agree. That being said, match was really good. I really enjoyed it. I like that the leg was a huge part of it, and then the O-Face is just a top tier finish. So,
very good.
It's got a word from Brandon. He's not going to make it tonight, so just be us three for the rest of the episode. So, Brandon, we'll see you next time. We got to get all of us together at some point soon. John Moxley defeats Kyle O'Reilly by submission in a no time limit match for the AEW Continental Championship. I understand why some people don't like technical wrestling. I do. I fucking love it, especially when it's done well. And that was technical wrestling done well, especially on the story side, including and up to the finish. The finish was fucking a masterpiece with both of them in the ankle lock or whatever you want to call it. And Kyle thinks that he can sneak out a win, and he can't. As soon as he kicks out, you can see it on his face. He's like, I just fucked up. Because he fucked up so bad that it lost him the match. And John Moxley finally gets the monkey off his back, known as Kyle O'Reilly. And if Kyle never got hurt, I do think that he probably would have won. Maybe not here, but like a couple months ago. But yeah, I mean, it was just a great match. And I personally love technical wrestling. And when it's done well between two guys who are top tier technical wrestlers, it can be super compelling. And that showed there.
I think the reason this got added to the card is because they did such a damn good job of the 20-minute draw on Wednesday. I think Tony, I'm not, I'm giving him a little credit here saying, oh my God, I can't leave these two guys off the card after what we just saw on free television. So I think that's kind of maybe in my mind, that's where they were late addition to the card. Cause we got that next day, right? They added that the next day on Thursday. Yeah.
Either that night or the next day.
It might have been that night. Tony probably stays up just a tad bit longer than Shep.
It was that night because Renee came up on the Death Riders when they were doing push-ups, and Mox got up and talked to her about it. So, yeah.
But I think that's why I got added, and they obviously delivered an even a longer match. And when you talk about technical wrestling, I think a lot of people harp on it because it maybe slows down a little bit. It gets a little boring. But these two guys would do some technical wrestling, then kind of have a little bit, I wouldn't call it a high spot, but they would maybe take it outside a little bit. They would speed the match back up, and then they would grind it back down. So, yeah, they did it very well.
I don't know if you guys have ever been to it, but it was a blood sport match with ropes to me.
I agree. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
very good comparison. I think I tweeted from our account. This is just a good old fashioned wrestling match. I mean, it's just that's what professional wrestling was back in the day, and I'm glad you brought up like Kyle O'Reilly's injury, because after Blood and Guts, and he was on a heater. He had a lot of momentum going, and then hated to see him on the shelf, and then he came back. Now he's a trios champ, which is great for him. So, but I want another Kyle O'Reilly singles run coming up after they drop the trios championships eventually, because the dude deserves it. He can go for how much crap people give him.
He gets a lot of crap because he's not that charismatic, but he doesn't need to be. Mm-mm. Dude gets his character. Dude is an incredible wrestler, and he's one of the most underrated comedy wrestlers of all time. He has so many moments that just make me laugh.
Yeah.
Like we go back 10 or so years when he's facing the Author of Pain, and he takes a move, and then he gets up on the ring apron, walks 2 feet, and then just face plants. It's hysterical.
I can see why you definitely won trivia now. That was a good poll.
It's all up here. It's like some people have the tism for trains minus professional wrestling.
I think, and when you bring up the comedy, I think that's why he fits so good in the conglomeration.
Sure.
And then too, I don't know exact time frame, but he had to work in the PWG out west back in the day when they were known for their comedy, but then all of a sudden put on a hell of a banger of a match.
Speaking of that, my AEW, for the people outside of America, or if you don't have the VPN, you can use it. They said they're going to bring on some other tape libraries. They should 100% buy the PWG tape.
Oh, yeah. And I can see that happening with Excalibur in the company, of course. So if there's a way.
Didn't Excalibur used to own part of that back in the day?
Yeah, it was him and Super Dragon, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which there was a PWG-ass moment in a match later on that we'll talk about in a little bit here. Will Ospreay defeats Samoa Joe by pinfall. I really like this match. I do have one kind of critique, and it's maybe the only critique because they kind of did it earlier in the show with the kick out at 1 and then the immediate finish. That's what happened in Okada versus Takeshita, and then they did here as well. I don't think it was needed. I think if Joe just kicked out at 2, it probably would have done the same thing versus him kicking out at 1. I don't think it made too much sense here. That being said, I've gone on record, and I'll go on record again. For me personally, Samoa Joe is on my Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers. Every single place he's gone, he's succeeded. He's been a world champion everywhere except the WWE, where he should have been, multiple times at that. And he has done nothing but put out quality wrestling, incredibly good promos, and then also goes without saying, everywhere he goes, he gets a banger entrance theme and just looks like, yeah, this guy could fuck me up for real, which he probably could. I'm not going to dispute that. But yeah, this is a really good match. I like the edge that Will's got since he's been working with the Death Riders. And I think it's a good spot for him in the first round to beat Samoa Joe and then go on to versus, who is he facing? He's got either Mark Davis or Jack Perry, depending on who wins that tonight. And I think the obvious choice is Mark Davis because then you get the Aussie Open and United Empire.
And he can try to get revenge on Davis hurting his neck even worse a couple weeks ago. I loved how the match between Ospreay and Joe started. Didn't see that coming. Hidden blade right away. But yeah, like you said, compliments to Joe. He is the professional wrestler, locker room leader. Can't say enough good things about the guy. But I also liked Osprey working in things he's learned from the Death Riders, and then realizing that wasn't really working. So I got to go back to my old style a little bit to get the job done. It's going to be fascinating to watch him through this journey through the Owen and then on to Wembley to see how his style keeps changing.
Talking about Joe, I agree with 100% of everything you guys have said, but there's one big asterisk, and Pierce, you brought it up. He never held a world championship on Raw or SmackDown. He did hold the NXT championship, but that was one wrestler that did not need to go to NXT first. So I think they got it wrong sending him to NXT first.
I think he did for a little bit, just because WWE does have its own style of wrestling. You can go from TNA to AEW, it's going to be very similar. You can go to AEW to New Japan, it's going to be somewhat similar. You go to anywhere to WWE, you have to learn WWE's style of wrestling because it is different. Even if you got the high spots, you got everything in between, but it's more about the story every single time. Even though that was a match full of story, WWE is a lot more. And Joe picked it up, but it was just the wrong time. Not saying he shouldn't have beaten Lesnar, which he should have. Even Lesnar and Paul Heyman were saying, put the title on him.
Great Balls of Fire, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Dumbest pay-per-view name.
Yep.
Best pay-per-view of that year.
One and done with that one.
You know, and you make that point, but there's one guy that has had countless classics with Joe that didn't go to NXT, and that was the phenomenal one, AJ Styles.
Yes, and he should have beaten AJ too, but for whatever reason, the story was just
Wendy.
Wendy. Oh, Wendy. He should have beaten him at SummerSlam is the point, but like it's just for whatever reason, Vince McMahon in the the late 2010s to 2020s when he did not know what the fuck he was doing and was just more of a piece of shit behind the scenes. He did not care. He saw a guy that looks like me, and he's like, that guy's not believable as a world champ when he is the most fucking believable world champ that you can have, not named Brock Lesnar.
In fact, okay, I'm gonna go down our first rabbit hole just because Tanner and I talked about this, and Paul talked about this on the prediction show, and then Tommy Dreamer talked about it on After Dark on last night. And I said that the Triple H NXT versus the Shawn Michaels NXT is completely different because Triple H was working with Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, established wrestlers. I know they didn't recognize them because they were on the independents, or Shawn Michaels working with raw NIL talent right out of college. You know, volleyball players, football players, basketball players, et cetera, et cetera. And Tommy was actually talking about that last night on After Dark, and I wanted to give Tanner and I a little credit. You know,
that's all you, man. That was all you.
We had a topic that obviously Tommy Dreamer ran with because I'm sure he listens to our show.
Oh yeah, sure.
And Paul Levesque's listening to this right now. Tomorrow.
But I think they were harping, giving Shawn Michaels a hard time that NXT and what it was like when it was the gold and black brand with Paul. But I said I think you're dealing with two completely different types of talents. I
agree because Shawn Michaels is treating it like what it is, which is developmental. While black and gold 2015 to 2020 NXT.
Oh, they were selling out 20,000 seats.
Wrestling show I've ever watched.
Yeah, it was the best brand in WWE by a mile.
It was the most pure wrestling show and the best. They weren't pay-per-views, but the best pay-per-views until AEW came to town that they were doing monthly or bi-monthly. It was the most pure professional wrestling we've ever seen. And people give Triple H a lot of flack right now. That's not on him. When you go up to the main roster and get put there, he now has to deal with all these sponsors and all this stuff. So you want to give him some shit for some of his booking, sure, but it's not all on him.
Right.
Especially because the first year and a half of his fucking reign as head of creative, he wasn't, because Vince still had his fingers in the fucking pot when he wasn't supposed to.
And my last thought on this before we get back to AEW is, NXT Black and Gold to me was like old school ROH, but with better production, bigger budget, etc. That's what I
It was
always
just-
compared it to.
It was every single hot independent talent at the time getting a show. And then you get the occasional WWE developmental talent, like, even though he is definitely not as big as he was expected, the Velveteen Dream.
Sure.
He was fucking huge in black.
Yeah, he was.
Turns out he's a piece of shit, but like, oh well.
He can wrestle.
Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana defeated Bandito in the men's Owen Hart Cup quarterfinal. I expect the finals to be Swerve and Will Ospreay. I think that makes the most sense. Honestly, I think I'm going to give this my match of the night.
Fair.
This or the main event, or like it could be any of the 4 or 5 matches. Like,
Yeah.
This was just fucking awesome. Like, Swerve is probably, besides maybe Gunther, my favorite professional wrestler going right now.
He's so damn smooth. So smooth.
He's so good. And then Bandito is consistently amazing. And Brandon, I know you're not here. Brandon's like, well, why wouldn't they put the ROH title on? Swerve is so far
Oh, yeah.
ahead of the ROH title. He would just win it and like throw it to the side and be like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I'm not going. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I'm on TV. I'm not going behind the paywall.
Can we talk about that house call?
Oh,
Is he the most athletic professional wrestler on television today?
I think you can give the argument that it's Bandito. That
Yeah.
deadlift 21 plex that he does, which is better than the regular 21 plex.
he's so damn strong. God.
Yeah, going into this on the prediction. So in my back of my mind, I said this will steal the show.
You did say
I would hate to follow these two guys, and I obviously, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I was right because
I think what followed did very well though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's still, you still have this high, and then all of a sudden you have another match, and as me as a fan, I'd be like, oh, I need to sit down and have a beer, But
Didn't stop the crowd.
No,
This is
I was
one of
going to
the
say,
hottest,
yep.
It's one of the hottest crowds, I think, this
Yep.
year in professional wrestling.
But I love the story, working on Bandito's neck to where in the end that cost him. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That was one of the best spots with the bridge, and then his
Yep.
neck just gave out.
Yep.
And then it's just Swerve Strickland, man.
Yeah.
And Bandito. Both those guys should get a
Yep.
fucking standing ovation.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
a quarterfinal match, and that could have been the finals.
Yep. And I know Bandito gets tons of AEW television time already, but I'm ready for him to drop the ROH title and just be on AEW full time. Sorry, Brandon, but I am.
I agree. I was like, it's pointless for him to have that title because it's the same thing as Swerve Strickland. He is so far and above what should arguably be AEW's developmental title,
Yes.
but he's just saddled with it. So I guess we'll see what happens next. Swerve gets either Claudio or Brody King.
Right.
I would prefer Brody King here, but I don't think it will be. But I think Brody King is the more fun because then they can go back to that match that they had, I believe, at Revolution,
Mhm.
and just continue
Yep.
with that story.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wish it was Brody, but I'm thinking it's going to be Claudio, especially with Will on the other side, giving fans like, oh, wait, maybe it won't be Will and Swerve. It could be Will and Claudio, and that could be interesting, even though I don't think it will be.
I was talking with
Yeah.
Brandon about this, and I was like, 2 years ago, we saw Swerve and Will at Forbidden Doors main event.
Yep.
And Will, in that match, it showed Will was not strong enough to beat Swerve because Swerve was the fucking, and still is the man.
Mhm.
And I think they've had one other match since then, and I think Swerve won that one as well. But this run for Will is going to be him overcoming all the odds from his neck injury to the people that he hasn't been able to beat in the past. The only
true.
one is probably going to be Okada, and that's probably where the brick wall ends. Because it's gonna be not too similar to Darby, but it's going to be till the wheels fall off in a different sense.
Yep.
Going back to I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Shep.
No, I was going to say, thinking everybody wants Claudio, but I think Brody King's got a little momentum behind him of late. I know he's kind of cooled down, but then you could sort of says, hey, I went through tag team champions. I went through both of them when they were tag team champions. And I almost think Brody King needs a win right now. He might need it worse than Claudio.
Yeah. And shout out to Brody King. I met him WrestleCon last year. Could not be a nicer guy.
I met him this year at Square Circle Expo in Indianapolis. I agree.
I was
such a nice guy.
I was this close to going. I just couldn't find the time.
Next year, if you can, come on down. It's a great event.
I got some more vacation time starting next year, so
There we go.
I'm gonna do my best.
I'm trying to get Shep to come with me next year. So
I'm working on it. Saturdays are bad. Saturdays are
Friday and
days.
Saturday. But
see if I'd take off the Friday, and I drove down for the Royal Rumble in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I was number one shocked at how cool of a town Indianapolis was, because I've driven through Indiana quite a few times, and most of it, and no disrespect to your state,
I get it.
pretty rough. Like obviously Wisconsin, you get to a point where it's bluffs and all this forest and beautiful driving, and then Indiana, it's just flat and farmland, but then you get to Indianapolis and it's like, God damn, this is cool. And then French Lick too. French Lick is sick.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Southern Indiana's got a lot more scenery, but the rest, I get it. I get it. No offense taken.
Tekla,
I'm a little offended, but that's okay.
that's all right.
well.
As long as he'll come back sometime.
Okay.
Tekla defeats Hikaru Shida, Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander to retain the Women's World Championship. I'm kind of shocked that Stat Daddy took the pin. I thought it would have been Shida. I thought she would have been the obvious choice, but I'm okay with Statlander because then that also kind of continues that story between her and Shida right now. Great match. It didn't feel like a normal four-way match. It just felt like everybody was going, and didn't matter who was in the ring. They were going to fight. I think Tekla is just the best. She is so fucking good. And people may say maybe they put the title on her a little soon after her debut, but I think they gave it to her at the right time, and she showed that she should be the world champion right now.
She's got such the cool factor about her.
Yeah. She's cool, man.
Yeah.
Her in-ring work is top-notch. You can't argue that. I just, and maybe it's me because I enjoy the backstage vignettes and promos more maybe than most, but when she first got the belt and started doing the backstage promos, she was, but you could tell she was reading off of a teleprompter or a freaking, note card that was behind the camera. It was very, very robotic, very scripted to me. And obviously she can improve on that. But her title reign with her actual in-ring performances, you cannot argue about.
I don't know who beats her, honestly. And I think that's a good thing because she could hold this to the end of the year, and I would not mind.
I still think it's Mercedes. I just don't know how we get there.
I think that makes sense because there is a Mercedes face run coming because now she's beltless. She's not bald. She doesn't have no hose that we know of, something like that. But I think that makes sense, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I think that they're going to let Tekla just run rampant over that division, and I think she should because you look at her, she's not big, strong, but she's just smarter and cooler than everybody, and that's all that matters.
And they need to develop another big star. They've been hurting without Tony and Mercedes, and they need to develop another. I mean, they got a lot of depth in the division. They just haven't had a lady reach that next level where those two are, and Tekla might be the next one.
Yeah, I agree. I like Alex Windsor too. Sure. I think she could be one to be developed. But to me, it's got to be Mercedes. There's a reason she held 13 belts. Now she holds none. She had a meltdown. She's regrouping herself, and I think she comes back as a face run. And Pierce, if you ever want to see an all-time meltdown of mine, I'll have Tanner send you the clip. But I don't know how long ago it was. But probably one of the most vulgar meltdowns I've ever had in my life is when Paul compared Mercedes to Britney Spears. That was
It was a good one. It was a good one.
I guess I would have to understand because I get it to a point, but like, send me the clip. I want to see that.
It wasn't even like the craziness because you can make that comparison. Last time we saw it, it was, and I don't remember the exact context. It was something else, and Shep had a good reason to go off like he did, and I just laughed the whole time.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho, the Hurt Syndicate, and the Elite defeat the Demand, the Don Callis family of Mark Davis and Andre El Idolo specifically, and the Dogs to win Stadium Stampede. I love dumb bullshit.
Yes, sir.
Like I wanted to talk about that PWG moment. It was the what was it? The abdominal stretch and everybody's holding, and then
pulling it in. Look,
and then fucking MVP comes up and slaps their hands off. That's a PWG moment. Fucking Jack Perry tried to commit vehicular manslaughter.
Live. It wasn't pre-taped either. It was live.
And then Tommy Invincible showed up and died. And then Satnam Singh started a food fight.
Oh, that was great with Andrade.
Clark Connors got kicked up an escalator.
And Luther gives Jericho the biggest tennis racket in the world.
Who knew Satnam Singh was a tennis player?
Like, it was dumb fun.
It's the one match here you know you're going to get at Double or Nothing, whether it's Stadium Stampede or Anarchy in the Arena. And it's just going to be creative, dumb fun that we can just be little kids again. I love it. I enjoyed, so many fun spots. I like how it ended with everybody getting the better. Ricochet and Jericho hitting the Lion Salt on them for the 1, 2, 3, continuing that rivalry going forward. I had no complaints. Just a lot of fun. Even the intros were great. Kenny choking on the cigar.
It's apparently the first cigar he's ever smoked.
Yeah, that's what he said on BTE. So
now, do you think that cigar thing was kind of a rib? Because earlier in the week, Cody came out and said he's trying to start. He's a cigar enthusiast and has the ambition of starting his own cigar company.
He had his own cigar company.
Yeah, he
for
did.
A little
Him
bit.
and Frankie Kazarian.
But it came up again on Monday, and I don't know why, but I thought it was kind of maybe a rib towards him.
Well, they may have been ribbing their buddy Cody. Like,
yeah.
I just thought it was fun, and I went out last month was my birthday. I went out with a couple of buddies to a cigar bar, and on a cigar aficionado magazine, the cover was Cody with a cigar.
Yep.
I was like, oh, that's fun.
And Kenny did say on BTE, like, we used to have a member of the Elite that was real big into cigars. He's like, I'm trying to fill my heart, like, learning. So he gave a nice little homage.
It was fun. It was stupid.
Yep.
Like, and I said this last week, and I stand by it. For a casual fan, the most casual friendly match in all of professional wrestling, an event for that matter, is the Royal Rumble. Because then you get introduced to 30 people. And like, I have a buddy who somewhat knows wrestling, doesn't at all. I told him about it. He's like, yeah, I can get into that real easily. This is AEW's version of that, because I'm like, okay. So, and I was like, if it's Anarchy in the Arena, there's one difference in that the music is playing for a good portion of it. And the music's just going to loop, and it's just going to be fucking, people are going to die, and it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
And in this match, someone almost did die, but like,
I'm liking Jack Perry lately, using whatever he can find. A bag of onions, vacuum clean, the dust part of the vacuum cleaner.
Loaded.
Yeah, he cracked them pretty good. Whatever he can find, like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just was one of those matches that can just put a smile on your face.
And also, Luchasaurus is one pretty lady.
What a great wig on top of whatever rig you already got on. But getting hit that hard with a bag of onions like they did on Dynamite, those aren't soft.
No.
I mean, I would say an onion is hard as an apple. And I mean,
a fresher onion is still going to be a little harder than most. So
he wound up, and I mean, I thought that was a crack.
And I love working all the tennis gimmicks in it too. That was good. And see, even though Jericho, I don't think the machine that was shooting the balls was working quite correctly at first. Then it started working. He about caught one right in the face when he's on the ground.
Well, that and the machine's spitting out the balls at fairly rate, and Jericho's just like soft tossing one.
Yeah.
He's just fucking beer ponging them.
Yeah,
hoping for a shot. And then at the end of the match, after the match, Jericho set up a table and just went through it himself as a little tribute to Sabu. Rest in peace to the homicidal, genocidal, suicidal, death-defying maniac Sabu. And that's the perfect way to do it because Sabu would do that shit himself. So I could see this being somebody's match of the night. Like, I get it because it's just fun.
It was entertaining.
And then in the main event, MJF is not bald. He defeats Darby Allin by pinfall. Has there ever been something like maybe Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly's feud has spanned multiple and like El Generico, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen? But like, has there been something that's been seen in indies that has been such a continuous through line as the headlock takeover? Like their first indie match, that's how it ended. And then I think every single match they've ever had together ended because of the headlock takeover.
Yeah, and I laughed on the IWC people complaining about that. I'm like, well, tell me you don't watch the product without telling me you don't watch the product if you're going to complain about how that ended.
First and foremost, Darby's reign was fucking great. That's the exact way you start a Darby reign, have it go through, and how it ends, because he's going to go till the wheels fall off, and you cannot be at not 100% against somebody like MJF, who I think is maybe beats, I said it's Swerve and Gunther. MJF is up there too.
How can you not love the guy? Yeah.
He's so damn good at professional wrestling. And Darby got his flowers with this reign. Everybody expected the Darby to get a world title reign. I don't think we expected it to start last month like it did, but I'm completely fine with the way it did because that makes sense for Darby. MJF tried to be a weasel. Darby knew it was going to happen, wins the title. That makes sense. And that's the only person he should beat for that title is MJF. And unless it's like a Tommy Dreamer and ECW situation where you got to get the title off of him for some reason, and then you give it to Darby, I don't know if we'll ever see another Darby world title reign, and I don't think we need to. If they do, great, but I think it's probably fine if he doesn't win it because that first reign is already so memorable. He has like the second most title defenses ever in the belt's history in a single reign. And he was only champ for like 50 days.
Yeah, it definitely elevated Darby into a bigger star. And I wasn't sure if his title reign could do that. And it definitely did.
And I think it got more eyes on Darby being in the main event scene. And obviously, I've been saying it forever. If Darby, at this pace, Darby might be in a wheelchair by he's 35. But that's the way he wants to do it. And I've heard interviews about it. And he's like, look, this is what I chose to do. And then I'm going to give it, 120%. And Darby does. The coffin drop off the balcony. Just
also,
crazy.
Speaking of that, I saw people complaining about the stage. Have people never been to fucking New York?
Yeah. Scaffolding everywhere.
Scaffolding everywhere. That was a perfect stage.
I at first, like when it went on the air, and I'm like, what is that? I was like, oh, it's scaffolding. Just like you're walking downtown New York, you walk under scaffolding every other block.
Yeah. And a lot of people bitch, especially with WWE and PLEs, how we don't get creative sets anymore. This one had a little creativity to it. So enjoy it,
And in the other venue that they normally it's under construction right now, correct?
Yeah. Arthur Ashe is getting ready for the U.S. Open.
Yeah, so it's under construction. So there you go. It made perfectly sense.
If All In next year is not in New York, I'll be shocked because they should do something maybe I don't think they'd fill out. Maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe they could fill out the Meadowlands, but like maybe they go to Brooklyn for it and do a smaller All In. I think that would make sense. Or if they can somehow get MSG.
If they could get into MSG, I think they got better chance to get into Barclays, even though I can see the WWE trying to block that because they run Barclays so often. But
they're fucking petty.
But yes. But I was hearing today on a podcast, somebody made a really good point. there's at least one, if not two, employees that were working for AEW that now work for the Barclays Center and are still in good terms with AEW. That might help them get in the door. So we'll see.
When you fill out a 15,000 seat and sell it out in New York,
Yep.
you're doing something right.
Yep.
So I think they need to New York. That was maybe the best crowd all year, and
Yeah.
we'll get more into the match and what happened after the match in a second. But I want to say it for right now, it's pay-per-view of the year. Bar none. Doesn't matter company.
Yep.
As for the match, it's Darby and MJF, guaranteed quality. Two sides of the same coin.
And like you said, you hit on their indie history just in AEW alone. This is a rivalry dating back to Full Gear 2021.
But wait a
These
minute,
guys-
there's no long-term storytelling in AEW, guys.
AEW has like two of the best long-term stories of all time. If you're wondering what those are, it's Hangman's versus the Elite, the first go around, and then MJF CM Punk. MJF CM Punk is maybe the best rivalry ever.
And we didn't get to see the next part that we should have.
I don't know if it needed it, honestly.
It probably didn't, but it would have been fun. But
Yeah, MJF beating Punk for the world title.
yeah,
probably
would have
made
been
some
pretty
sense,
cool.
but
But
like, oh well. You know.
yeah, is what it is. So, but no, a fun main event to cap off a great card from top to bottom.
Did you guys see the tweet where somebody's like, "You have all this crazy shit in this match happen, and MJF wins with a simple second rope tombstone pile driver"? I'm like, simple second rope tombstone.
When's the last time you saw a second rope tombstone?
I mean, MJF does it a lot, but not from the second
Yeah,
rope.
and besides him, not too many people do it. So
Tombstone is one of the greatest professional wrestling finishers of all time.
agreed.
Like, it doesn't matter if I prefer the Undertaker's over Kane's, but like, it's synonymous with one of the greatest accidental stories in professional wrestling history in the streak. And so, yeah, a second rope tombstone that should probably finish the match after Darby jumped off a 20-foot scaffolding.
It's cracked his head in the process.
And then, of course, ends with headlock takeover.
Yep.
Didn't need to end any other way. After the match, MJF is gloating. He's standing on the stretcher of the Darbys. Kevin Knight comes out and runs MJF off, and then hits the UFO splash on Darby while he's on the stretcher. Kevin Knight turns heel. I did not expect that.
I figured he'd turn heel against Speedball.
That's what I've been saying for weeks on KOP. Like, I felt like it was coming. We're getting close.
I thought it was going to be the other way around. I thought Speedball was going to turn.
And I thought Kevin Knight had an odd promo last Wednesday on Dynamite. Now it makes sense.
He has some promo time tonight, doesn't he?
Yeah. I won't spoil it for anybody. I got Dynamite over here that muted, but he did cut a promo tonight.
I'll have to check it out after. But like, I mean, Brandon was like, Kevin Knight cuts a dog shit promo. He's like, hopefully this heel turn makes him. Maybe the promo was dog shit on purpose. So, but like, I'm excited for heel Kevin Knight. Give Darby a little bit of rest because he absolutely deserves it.
Yes.
And there's your all-in match.
Yeah, and you can see where the company sees Kevin Knight. I mean, this is their next guy they're grooming. Like, I mean, I hate to make a prediction a year and a half from now, but I'd be shocked by the end of 2027 if he's hasn't held the big title at some point.
I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but
I give it 2 to 3 years for that because
Okay.
I think we'll say 2028 or 2029 is all in.
Okay.
Your main event is Kevin Knight versus Protostar, Kyle Fletcher.
Sign me up. Take my
That
money.
makes sense. Those are they were saying we talked about the 4 pillars 4-way for a minute earlier.
Yeah.
2 of the 4 pillars have held the world title, but now there's some newer pillars. Sammy Guevara is never fucking touching that. Jack Perry still could, but his behind the scenes issues probably stopped anything from ever happening. But he's been putting in good work since he's come back as a face and with Luchasaurus. And not saying he will be world champion. I don't think he will, but I think he's that international title, maybe that occasional world title contender, but never going to get to that point. But you have, if you're talking 4 pillars right now, and he might be a multi-time world champion, but he's still only 30. Fucking MJF, Kevin Knight, Protostar, Kyle Fletcher, and probably Takeshita, because Takeshita's only, 30?
Yeah, I believe he's yeah.
They're your current 4 pillars.
Yeah, you can't
for
argue. I
future
can't argue
AEW.
that.
And I think it, not beating a dead horse, but if Kevin's a little shaky on the mic yet.
Sure.
He's not as smooth as some of your main event guys.
But they're giving him a lot of reps.
They are, and that's practice makes perfect. So
yep.
I was talking to Brandon about this because he had the head ass take of the year by saying Paul Heyman is going to align with Ope-Eh, and Ope-Eh is going to become a Paul Heyman guy. I was like, here's the thing. Braun Breaker needs Paul Heyman because Braun Breaker, although he's become a pretty solid promo, Paul Heyman, he's a Paul Heyman guy. Paul Heyman's going to be the main promo work. Ope-Eh does not need it because Ope-Eh is a fucking great promo. I don't want him with Callis, but maybe you give Stokely somebody. Kevin Knight and Stokely seems like a really good pairing because Stokely is very, very good on the mic.
What about a main event wrestler in the Hurt Business with MVP?
That would make sense too.
What about a little partnership with Swerve? And Nana's not necessarily a mic guy, but he can.
He's a hype guy.
Hype guy a little bit, but I don't know.
I mean, when Nana speaks, people listen.
True.
So, like, I was when Swerve returned to Revolution, and they kind of fucked it up with getting into Nana too quick. When he said "We're in the money, my friend," first, and then they did it again, it was like it didn't matter. Like both times it fucking hit. So like,
yeah,
I think if you give Kevin Knight a mouthpiece, it'll probably work in his favor.
Yeah.
So, so on this show, we usually rate things out of 1 out of 10. Tanner, what are you rating it?
I mean, I'm gonna get killed for this, but I actually last week I did a little video that I'd been working on in a while, and I ranked, excluding Fighter Fest and Fight for the Fall in 2019, I ranked all the previous AEW pay-per-views from 1 through 44. This, if I had to put this in my list, this is a top 3 all-time AEW pay-per-view. And I'm not just saying
your top 2. What were your top 3, just so people can know?
All right. So my number 1, All Out 2021.
Yeah, that's arguably, and you can make the argument here, even though it's recency bias, that it's in the top 5 wrestling shows of all time. I think All Out 2021 is in the top 3 because it was the first AEW pay-per-view I bought, and it money well spent.
Number 2 was Revolution 2020 for me.
Yep, that makes sense.
I just thought, especially the later half that card just hit, and it was just the feeling was like AEW's getting momentum, and then of course the pandemic hit. And I'm trying to think what my third was. I honestly don't remember off the top of my head what my third was. Go check it out on our YouTube channel. But yeah, this would slide right in there. And it just because, I mean, like you said, every match hit on the main card. And I mean, it's hard to say this one was the worst, this one was the best. And I haven't seen AEW getting this much positivity online in a long time. And hopefully they can continue it tonight with a good follow-up Dynamite.
And
so 1 out of 10, what would you rate it?
I can't give it a take because I don't believe in everything being perfect, even though it was darn good. So I'm going to give it a 9.6.
Shep?
So speaking on Tanner there, I think it's getting so much positive press because it was obviously a damn good pay-per-view, but there's kind of the competitor right now over in Connecticut, as I call them, they're kind of in a funk. Okay. And so I think now some of your IWC jumps back and forth on the bandwagon of whatever product's hotter. And AEW is arguably the hottest it's almost ever been. So, and we used to give rankings back in the day on KOP, and Paul and Tanner always would give me a hard time saying I'm too critical. And I rarely gave a show in the 8s. A 7 was a good show for me. A lot of 5s and 6s. But I'm going to talk Tanner on this one. I'm not going to go over top of him. but this thing was like a 9.2 for me. And it would have probably gone to be a 9.7 to beat Tanner, but the dumbasses were on the 0 hour.
Well, that doesn't count towards pay-per-view, so that's fine. You didn't have to pay for that part.
They lost a half a point for that.
So my highest rated show this year was WrestleMania Night 2, which I think I put at a 9.25. I'm going to give this a 9.75. Like, it's easily the pay-per-view of the year. I agree. I don't want to give anything a 10 unless it absolutely is that perfect. And this is this close.
Yeah,
and the only thing I disliked is that it's the same thing that I say for every AEW pay-per-view. Shorten it up.
Yeah.
That's it.
So started earlier.
Didn't have to fucking work on Monday, so that's okay.
Yeah. And we knew going into it, oh, great, with the holiday, Tony's going to run this thing lazy can. But I even started an hour earlier,
Or do another midday show. Their midday shows are great.
Yeah.
Did 0 hour start at 5?
6.
7.
6.
6 my time.
7 our time, I think.
Okay. It started a little later than I thought.
Yeah. And in the next one, Forbidden Doors, San Jose. So he's going to think, oh, Pacific time fans. He's going to forget about all of us in the Central and Eastern time zone, and it's going to be another late one.
And then they're doing another show in July. They have another
Redemption in Montreal, which would be cool. And then we get our daytime one at Wembley.
As long as they can come to fucking Wisconsin for one show. They usually do one show a year, and they haven't booked it yet. And I would like to go to an AEW show.
Sure. Yep. We're the same way. They usually come to Indiana once, send Fishers. I'm thinking it's going to be September because they kind of slipped. And for some reason, a few weeks ago, it popped up on AEW Tix as a September date, and then it was pulled like an hour later. So I'm thinking it's going to be September. So
that's what I'm hoping too. That was the show where the house burned down was September when we went. And I didn't go last year, but I should have. They usually run the Panther Arena for UW Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Which is a bigger arena, but I think it usually fills out. And then even though it's not a completely full sellout, people show up. That's the one thing I love about AEW shows. It gets loud and passionate.
Yep. And getting in a very engaging audience. And you get more of your diehard wrestling fans, let's say, at an AEW show. Not as many families and kids from what I've seen in the Dynamites I've went through. So.
Also, it's a lot nicer for my wallet.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Me and Brandon, that Dynamite we went to, we got 5 rows from the front, like the day before or the day of, $60 a piece.
Yep.
Best seats I ever had. Well, besides Bloodsport, I got 3 rows from the front,
nice.
Which is way tinier, but
yeah.
But guys, I cannot thank you enough. And Brandon, wherever he is, can't thank you enough. We'll have to do this again because this was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, really enjoyed it.
Oh, I have to come on your show at some point too.
Sure.
I want a shot of that belt.
Everybody wants a shot of my belt.
Well, I mean, how you make a perfect card and you don't even get, I didn't miss a pick, and
I've been on that end, my friend. It hurts being the champion, get champion's advantage.
It doesn't.
Nice.
It doesn't. It's different when it's on my end.
Tie goes to the runner, man.
There's no such thing as a tie in baseball.
But like I said, thank you so much. Before I send us home, real quick, just so people can find you one more time.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Shep27 every Sunday night, or most Sunday nights, 8:30 on the Kicking Out podcast on YouTube. You said Facebook as well?
Yeah.
And do we still do X or Twitter? Twitter X?
No, not since they make you be a premium to run live. No.
That's jackasses. So anyways, on YouTube and Facebook. Yeah, what a shock. And again, a part of the Main Event Wrestling Network. Follow them. They're getting close to 500 followers, 400 followers on YouTube.
Close to 400, I believe.
Close to 400.
Yeah. Paperclip Mike's going to shave himself into a mohawk if we get to 400. I just made that up, but
you'll see me there again once they run trivia again, because I'm taking that belt home once again.
I'm not doubting that after seeing you.
I started listening to that show, and the first 2 questions, I'm like, holy shit, this isn't going to be easy. It was he had a question from 92 and 93. And I'm like, I mean, I can remember watching it as a kid. I was 9 years old, but I'm like, all right, this they're going to get some deep dives here.
There was one, they had like a deep cuts category, and I got this thing because I answered 3 in a row, which Hope called a finish, which I could steal and then get triple points. And the question was, before he debuted, what was the gimmick that Bret Hart was going to get in the WWF? And I saw Boris knew what it was, and I was like, I got to steal it. Do you guys know what the answer was?
I'm going to be pissed when I hear it because I can't think of it, but I've heard of it before, but I can't think of it right now.
It's Cowboy Bret Hart. And I was like, I have to steal it. And I was able to get it, but like some of those questions were out there. Like one of them was like, Goldust was gonna get breast implants.
Yeah,
I think that's the only question I passed on because I was like, I've heard of it, but I'm like, I got no fucking idea right now. So once you're on the spot, it gets tough.
You sure?
He was open to have breast implants for the Goldust character.
Yep, I have read that before.
Shows the type of person that Dustin Runnels is. You know?
It's committed to the character. You can find me like Shep on social media at Tinnerly92. And like Shep said, we go live most Sunday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on over to our YouTube, Facebook, Hangout. We're a bunch of sickos talking about All Elite Wrestling. And find us on all social media at Kicking Out Pod. Love to have you jump on the train. We're riding some momentum with the Main Event Wrestling Network, and 2026 has been great to us. So thanks again for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it was a long time coming. We tried to do this earlier in the year, but obviously real life happens, and sometimes that got to take priority. But we will make this happen again because this was such a good time. And it's always fun to get some fellow sickos in here, even though I do watch a lot of WWE.
Nothing wrong with that. We watch it too.
Yeah.
So,
Tribalism is fucking stupid. That's how I'm going to end this episode.
Yep.
But this has been your favorite podcast saying thanks for stopping to the Ope-Eh 3-Way. Have a beer on us, and we'll see you next time. Have a great night.